Hello, hello. Greetings, groovy geographers, and happy first day of July. Thank you so much to those of you who submitted your exams. Those of you who missed the exam, remember that you can drop your lowest score. So this won't penalize you as long as you take exams two and three. A lot of folks had some questions about being able to use your textbook and your Canvas notes, even though there's a Proctorio exam. I'm going to change the settings for exam two a little bit, so you should get less warning signs. I will also put a new practice quiz for you to test out your settings. Remember, if you get a notification saying asking for a passcode, there is no passcode. That's Proctorio's way of saying that there was an issue with your settings and it can't communicate with your computer. And again, it's not useful to memorize a bunch of random facts, especially since this is a world regional geography class and so much changes so rapidly. I mean, as I emailed earlier, several of our lectures are already out of date based on events that have happened in the last 6 months. So it's not useful to memorize random information. It is more useful to know how to use your resources to find information. That's a skill that will benefit you throughout not just this class, but throughout all your future courses and your job as well, as being able to use your resources to get information when you need it. And that's why I allow you to use your textbook and your Canvas. I just ask that you don't use ChatGPT. Really, as long as you're not doing that, I'm fine. So those are still being graded. You'll see those soon. And yeah, so exam two will be here before we know it. Exam two will just be on module three, which includes all of Asia. So South Asia, East Asia, Southeast Asia, as well as some of the sub lectures in there. I think we had one on water was the one in there. I think it's the only sub lecture we had. So that will be for exam two. We'll be just on the three regions of Asia. I want to talk about your final project. A few folks have had questions about ideas for topics and everything. So I do final project is a bit different in that it's not like a set deliverable that you have to do. You have a lot of flexibility because I want you to do something that is reflective of your strengths and your interests. Many of you, if not most of you, are not geography majors. You might be taking this for maybe you're a teacher. I know a lot of you, a lot of the teacher programs take this class, or maybe you're taking it as a GE for other classes. So I want you to do something that will benefit your course of study, benefit your research goals, and so on and so forth, instead of just having to crank out a paper that you might not care about in the future. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and show you the write-up of what's expected of you. Here we go. Okay, and this will be posted to your Canvas shortly. I don't think it is yet. So again, as your final project, you are to choose a current event of your choice. Thank you to those of you who've already submitted it. Um, a lot of folks have had questions about like, what do you mean current event? Um, it doesn't have to be a strictly a geographic event by definition of happening on this planet. All current events are geographic because they all exist in space. You're welcome. Um, but if you need some ideas, what I tell folks often is if you read the news or if you're on social media and get your news that way, then are there any topics that you have more questions about or you want to learn more about or want to dive deeper into? Again, social media is not the that should not be your only way of getting news information. It's very hard to sum up current events into a little, five picture post. So this is your opportunity to dive deeper into a topic that you're interested in. It could be anywhere in the world. We have multiple wars and genocides happening right now across the world. You can not write about any of those. But I do want to say you don't have to write about something sad. This is a common theme is folks will pick a topic. Maybe you chose about Sudan or Gaza or Ukraine, all of which are very heavy topics. They're very important topics. They need to be talked about. But if you feel that for your well-being and mental health, you don't have the bandwidth to spend the next 3 weeks doing a deep dive into any of those topics. You don't have to. So I do want you to be mindful of your own well-being as you choose a topic. You will be spending the rest of our time together working on this, and I don't want you to be too depressed. As my therapist says, don't read the news if it's too depressing. Except that's my job to read the news when it's depressing. I digress. Um, so yeah, you can be on something in pop culture that you find interesting or something in the movie world you find interesting. But of course, if there's something happening politically, as I'm recording this, there is a lot happening with immigration. There's a lot of new legislation happening in the United States. It doesn't have to be about United States. Again, you could write about Iran, you could write about West Bank, you could write about Tigray, you could write about new laws being passed in the UK, what that means for trans women. There's lots of options for you. Pick something that's meaningful for you. Okay. Um, then there's a whole bunch of questions for you. So, what are some key timelines? Who's involved? Why is it happening? Events don't happen in a vacuum. They don't happen just because something led up to whatever your current event might be it a pop culture craze, be it a political military invasion, be it a new law. All of these happen because of things happening in the world that led up to that point. Um, then this is where the jaggery part comes in. Regardless of what your topic is, I want you to then tie in the geographic themes and principles from this class. And so I listed some here that are examples. You can use more than this, but those are kind of to get you going. How is location theory involved in your event, right? Why is location and distribution and movement involved in your event? Are demographics involved? Are different types of people, different age groups, different ethnicities? Is that going to be a factor? Are regions a factor? There's so much that you can do. But that's just a kind of a taste for you. The fun part is your deliverable. Okay. If you want to do just the classic, write a paper, do a poster, that's totally fine. That's very popular, but that's not everyone's strong suit. Um, as long as you have one visual element, one written element, fully address the above questions, you need to include a map, and cite your sources, you're good. So I have some examples of things that students in the past have done. So again, a poster is a very straightforward visual element. I've had folks do like sculpture. I've had multiple sculpture projects. You could do a photography collage. You could do a video. I had a student who recorded a song and made a music video. Um, so kind of this is where again you can tap into your strengths. And if you're taking another class at the same time as this, you also can see how you can tie them in. So if you're taking an art class, you need to do a painting for your art class, and you're taking a geography class, you could do a painting of your geography topic. All ties together. Mwahaha. And then also written element. Again, many folks choose to do a paper. You do not have to. You could do a poem. You could do a play. I had a student write a whole like play one year. If you do an art piece, sometimes art pieces aren't as clear how they are tied into the geographic themes. You can then write a synopsis or synthesis of that. If you've been to museums, you kind of know what I'm talking about there. Um, Again, so I'm looking for something written, something visual. You need to have a map. You just use one of the templates that we've had so far. Use a geographic theme and then have your citation sources. It's up to you whether you use APA or MLA or Chicago. Again, depends on what your major is. Geographers use APA. If you're a psychology major, you could probably use the same. Historians use Chicago. I mean, so pick whichever format works best for your major. Okay? Wikipedia is a great place to start, but don't stop there. Remember, it can be edited by anyone, so it's not always a great source. And same with AI. If you want to use it to help brainstorm, that's great. But if you have AI write your paper, you'll be meeting our Dean of Student Disciplinary Services, and that's unfortunate. So don't do that. Any questions, of course, drop me a line, and I'm looking forward to see all your projects. Thank you. Bye.